Hi, how are you doing? Hi,
Hey,
Daniel.
good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
It's morning in California, but it is evening in Iraq. So we have some students who are joining us in Iraq.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So are you ready for, did you get access to Skyline for the competition yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Let me email the team and make sure that they give you access for that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious about the competition because I don't really know what it's about, but I just
Okay.
felt like I want to participate and gain some experience from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it has a website that you would access, which is the Skyline. And in that, the Skyline allows you to practice in the gymnasium. And when you practice, it actually gives you some different scenario. Like, for example, it would ask you about, if there's an attack, what would happen, what would you do? And then you would pick the choices or you would do something. And if you don't get the right answer in the gymnasium, it's going to tell you, it's going to give you hint on what to do. So with that, I hope that you will be able to get practice between now and the 13th.
Yeah.
And then when you actually compete in the cyber event, um, you will be able to see like different questions and scenario. So some stuff would be related to some of the things we covered in class, and then some stuff that might be outside of that. You know, I put you guys down for beginners, so it should be very easy. Okay. But
Okay.
I will make sure that I email them today and making sure that they give you access.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Then because I've been trying to reach you, so I have a couple of questions.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can address that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The apprenticeship program.
Okay, so the apprenticeship, while we wait for everybody to join in this morning,
Yeah.
apprenticeship for the program is when, if you're ready, there's CIS 200 that I teach, and in that we help you work on your apprenticeship in building your resume, getting ready for the interview, and then you would also you'd be given a practice test, which is a like certification practice test. And then if you score above a certain percentage, then you're ready. If not, we would get you to learn it and then be able to do that because the employers, they're going to ask for those questions.
Yeah.
And then we send the information to the employer and they interview you and then you get a job.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and in the class while you're taking the class, which is the CIS 200 or APP 450. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I think we have more people joining us. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, and you?
I'm okay. So we are gonna have, I think we have Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. We have some people from,
Hello.
hi. And you're welcome to turn on your camera if you like. You don't have to. If you don't want to turn on your camera, that will be fine. If you do turn on your camera later, I will let you know. We actually are gonna have your picture shown in one of the articles that we're gonna do for our president newsletter for Moreno Valley College. So I have with me Jason. He's the manager at IMEC Innovation Center. Jerry, he's one of the technician at IMEC Innovation Center. And then I do have some student aid too, who are here to also help you because they've been working with Tinkercad and everything else. Um, so my name is Casey Nguyen, if you don't know. I know I have some students are attending the session right now, but I am a professor at Moreno Valley College. This is my 4th year teaching at Moreno Valley College. I teach computer science courses like in programming, and I also teach cybersecurity courses. I created some certificate for the college, but we are going to talk about clean water today. Okay. All right. So I think we got some people joining us now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in a link in the chat. That link is going to be used for you to post information like your name and some of the materials that you can actually view through it on your own, but we also going to be able to play some videos. So as part of this actual program is a conversation program about global solutions. We are building some solution for clean water, which is part of the UN missions. 1 second, let me get this going here. So while we wait for everybody, here is the Nearpod link. And if you click the link, it's going to take you to Nearpod. And you can participate in the Nearpod in that our first activity would be putting in your introduction. Now it's going to ask you to log in. So you can use your Google account if you have one, or if you have an Office 365 if you have one. If you don't have a Google account, you can register for an account. And I'm gonna start with mine. So I have a Google account, so I simply select it, and then it would give me the website. Okay. Now, if you're unable to access that, basically you can also type in Zoom. So to start, what we're gonna do is we are gonna go ahead and set up the introduction. Let me see. Is it not loading for everyone? So based on the agenda, what we have is we would be able to post our information. So here's a question.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? Fine?
So I also have with me Mr. Omar Bashir. He
Yeah.
is an instructor and
Nice to meet you again.
You too. You wanted to introduce yourself a little bit and tell them a little bit about you?
I think it's the second time I introduce myself because we may see new faces. Yeah, my name is Umar Hassan, lecturer at Korea Technical Institute, Arbil Polytechnic University. I live in Iraq, and a facilitator with Group 11. Nice to meet you all.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, everybody. It's morning in California, 8 a.m.
Yes.
And it's evening where you are at, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, if you just join us, I put in the shared Nearpod. What you would do is you can click that and then select an account that you wanted to use. If you have a Google account or an Office 365 account, then you can also put in your information on there. Okay. If you have a hard time accessing that, please let me know. So the first part is to just put in some introduction information, who you are, If you're a student at Moreno Valley College, you can put that. If you're a student in Iraq, you can also include that information. What are your goals? What are your ambition? What you're like to do? Okay, so what we're doing is we are basically putting in the introduction, and when you answer the questions, you can put in your, let me also put that on live participation. Okay, put in your information, and if you like to add a picture, you can. Here we go. I changed it up to be for Zoom so you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share with everybody so you actually see what's happening on your Nearpod. Okay, so when you access Nearpod, it's gonna ask you for a self-introduction, and then you can go ahead and type in your name. You would like, if you like to locate an image, you can simply click on the image, and then you can search for an image like student. Or if you like nature, you can put nature. Or if you like computer, you can put computer, and then you can search for the image, and then you can put it in. So I love computers, so I'm gonna go ahead and select that. And then I can post it. Okay, so when you click the link, you'll be able to access Nearpod. Let me know if you have questions. Okay, so while we're doing that, what I like to do is I'm gonna go ahead and share some, okay, I have some chat questions. Let me get to the chat questions. No problem, Trisha. So if you wanted to see this thread, you can access the Nearpod, which is the first part, or let me get to, you can also do this, okay? So put in your introduction, who you are, what, and an image of what you like, okay? Let me make Joseph, and I believe, is Abraham here? Not yet.
I don't see him yet.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and make Joseph also a co-host. So I have with me some people from Moreno Valley College that's gonna be helping you in this session, okay? Like Donnell Lane. Hi Donnell, how are you?
I can't stay. I have a pre-construction meeting, but I just wanted to pop in for a few moments, say hello to everyone.
You wanna introduce yourself and let them know who you are and what your iMake Innovation Center has that the student can use?
Sure. I'll let Jason do that because I'm driving.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back on mute now.
Okay. Jason, you want to talk a little bit about iMake Innovation Center?
Sure. So we have a iMake Innovation Center at Moreno Valley College. We have 3 makerspaces. We have the on-campus physical makerspace. We have a mobile makerspace, which is a recreational vehicle bus, and we also have a virtual makerspace, which we've been working on, during the time of COVID. And I can share the link with everyone so they see link to our makerspace. I'll put it in the chat there. But in our on-campus makerspace, we have 3D printers, laser cutters, woodworking equipment, sewing machines, robotics, a lot of cool technology. It's over 4,000 square feet, and it's fairly new still. We have only had it open for a few months before COVID shut it down in the spring, and we're still currently closed, hoping to reopen potentially for the summer or fall.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing. I wanted to show you what we have posted so far for the introduction. So I have Alejandra and Joseph on the line. So Joseph, he's a lab technician at iMake Innovation Center. Joe, you wanted to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so hello and welcome. So if some of you are students, I was once in your shoes about 2 years ago. I was a student employee for Dr. Nguyen, and then I became a laboratory technician, helping develop both the bus and the physical iMake Innovation Center, or Makerspace for short. Just like same thing what Jason said, it's a free opportunity. You guys could come in, be creative, be innovative, learn some new tools and techniques, and be exposed to a whole bunch of technology that you may never thought that you would ever get a chance to touch or experience.
Okay, that will be fine. Yes, Jason, I had enabled for the live one, and then also the student can do it alongside with not doing the live one, because in case if they miss the beginning, they can actually use the other one. So if you use the second Nearpod, that actually is for the live one. And then the first one actually is a self-paced. So you can always go back and post some information. So what I'll do is I'll approve for both. And so that way you can share some information. So what we're gonna do next is we are gonna talk about, oh, unless Jerry wants to say something, do you want us to say something, Jerry? About your position and what you do to help students?
Sure. So I'm just, I work for the Moreno Valley Innovation Center. I'm an assistant there, so I help out in any way I can. So I'm just there. I'm there for anything that anybody needs, computers or information or, and I guess just any kind of assisting.
Okay, thank you, Jerry, for sharing. I know that we also have student A2 on the line. They're participating in this event. They also will help you later on in case you have questions about Tinkercad. But what we'll do is we are going to talk about UN missions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share screen so you can also watch the video. If you're using the Nearpod, it actually link the first Nearpod link give you the video and you can answer the question at the same time. So let me go ahead and load the video for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and play the sound real quick. Sorry, trying to coordinate everything. Optimize screen sharing. Okay.
We can be. We must be.
Sorry about that.
The first generation to end extreme poverty.
Are you able to get any sound? I'm not able to get any sound.
It starts playing a little sound and then it stops.
Okay, I just stopped it.
Most
Does that,
determined
to fight
is that okay?
injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals
A 15-year plan
for everyone, everywhere.
with no one left behind.
We will live in a world
Where nobody
Anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one
wakes in the morning.
Asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die.
Diseases we know how to cure. And where proper health care
Is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone goes to school.
and education gives us the knowledge
And skills.
For a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
to thrive
And be powerful.
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is headed back.
We will live in a world
Where all people can get clean water.
And proper toilets
at home, at school, and at work.
We will live in a world where there's sustainable energy for everyone.
Heat, light, and power for the whole planet.
Without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper. And new wealth
Lead to decent jobs
for everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry,
our infrastructure and our
best innovations
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
we will live in a world
Where prejudices and extremes of inequality
Are defeated.
Inside our countries,
And between different countries.
where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
what we consume.
Planet where we put back.
What we take out of the earth. We live in a world that is decisively rolling back from climate
change.
where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. We'll restore
and protect
life on land,
The forests,
Animals,
the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries.
where all governments are open.
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people.
Work together.
Partnerships of all kinds.
To make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals.
For sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
Okay, so as you saw in the video, what you're gonna do is you are gonna think about the video and then we are going to answer the question. So I'll post question in the chat. If you're using the Nearpod, it also take you to the Nearpod questions as well and link that to the video. So our question for this morning would be, 1 second. So in the video, it talks about sustainability and how development would be needing the present without compromising the ability for the future generations to meet their own needs. And a sustainable solution is a solution that solves a problem today and will be effective years from now. And the 3 pillars of sustainability are social, which is people, and people are you in this session, environmental, planet, and economic, money, right? Sustainable business practices account for long-term environmental, economic, and social impacts. So the UN Global Impact defines sustainable business as operating in ways that meet fundamental responsibilities in the areas of human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. Sustainable business contribute to sustainable development, a mode of economic growth defined the UN. So as you saw, the video highlight the UN missions, and with the sustainable development goals, they are depicted in the actual video. So our question for this morning would be, why do you think sustainability is important today and in your community and in the world? So I will post that in the chat. You can go ahead and type in your answer there, or if you're using the Nearpod, you can also post it on the Nearpod. So I will give you the link for the Nearpod. Okay. Yep. And then let me put the link for the Nearpod. You can put it in the Zoom chat, or you can also post it on the Nearpod so you can also see other people. So think about the mission and answer the question, why do you think sustainability is important to your community and the world? Think about, if you think about what happened in Houston recently, where they had no clean water, okay? Where my family members lived in Houston, and when the storm hit, it froze all the pipe, and they ended up having to drink pool water for a week because there was no clean water. And also we should think about food, equality for food, food justice. We also should think about life below water, how we are treating the environment, waste that goes into the ocean, our environment's impact. So you can add the answer into the chat, or you can also add the answer onto the Nearpod. Give me 1 second. Yes, unless you wanted to answer out loud verbally, that will be fine too.
I was actually going to ask if our response is already in the red on the Nearpod. Can we do double, or does it have to be just? Okay.
You can do double.
Okay, see, on the last collaborative Nearpod, I don't see a way to add anything to it. On the sustainability one, does anyone else see like a tool?
Let me repost that.
It just says sustainability. What do you think is important today in your community world?
And you can't share any image?
No, I don't see anything. Not like the other one where we could type in a box and load an image.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share that again.
It's a box, a text box at the bottom on my screen.
Yeah, and then you can type that in, and then when I click approve, it's gonna post it.
On the one that says collaborative, Joe?
Yeah.
On the one is the sustainability one. It was a question. It looked like a chalkboard.
Yes. That's the same one.
Someone already posted up something.
Yeah, so when you post it, what I'll do is I'll click the link, and then I will approve it. Okay, let me go back to the earlier Nearpod. Okay,
I see someone posted, but on mine I don't have a box for whatever reason to post anything.
Okay, let me fix that for you, Jason.
I tried it in a different browser, same thing. I can see someone's comment, but no way to add anything. Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone else has a box either.
Okay.
Joe, yours is special if you can post something.
I got the box down below. It's like a white box where it says share your thoughts or images here.
Yeah, we don't have that. No one else does either. NK, no box. I'm off, no box. Melissa, no box.
Are you signed in as a user?
Yeah, I logged in
Okay.
with the office and I believe so.
Yeah, because on this one I have Alejandra, Jerry, you on there, Joseph and Trisha. So let me relink that for you, okay? Sorry about that. This is the first time I actually implement Nearpod in a session, so I'm still trying to coordinate and making sure that it works. Yeah, it's not. And Joe, you use the same link that I provided, right?
Yes, and like it was the same link that I typed on earlier, and then I just like when you switched it, it automatically switched or reloaded on my page when you switched it to the sustainability.
Right. So I think if I just reshare the Nearpod that I gave you guys earlier, right? Hold on one second.
So you might have to watch the video. As soon as I finished watching it, then it allowed me to answer the question.
Yeah, because that's a task that's linked to the Nearpod. So you can watch the video and then you can also fast forward it if you like.
It also wouldn't let me fast forward. You have
Oh,
to
it
watch.
didn't?
No, you have to watch the whole video.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't have those requirements.
Yeah, I didn't either because I had forwarded, but I will reshare the link that Joe was using before. But if you watch the video, it will let you post. So you can go back and watch the video if you like, if you missed that. Okay. And
That's
I
the
had
We the
told,
People video.
I'm sorry?
The We the People video.
Yeah.
Joe, you didn't watch the video and you got yours to work.
Yeah.
When I click on the new link that you sent us,
Mhm.
it won't give me the options to like go back. Unlike the first link that you sent, it just
Okay.
like stuck there.
Okay, thank you, Anna. We're gonna fix that real quick. Okay. I'm gonna let you play the video.
Is the video link in the Nearpod?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see any video link either.
Okay.
I see it from
So,
your Google Doc, but I don't see it from anything in the Nearpod.
so I'm gonna send you the, okay, everybody, sorry for the confusion. What we'll do is we'll use the Nearpod and then we will, let me get to that. And then you can post some information, okay? Copy link. Here we go. So if you, once you post, you can click next, which is a little arrow, and then it's gonna go through. And, or you can also type in the answer in the chat, that will be fine too. So Daniel did that, okay? And if you just join, you can, when you go through the step in introduction, watching the video, and then answer the questions for the sustainability, you will be able to see. And thank you, Daniel. So Daniel put sustainability is important today because there are limited amount of resources in the world, and have conscious about what we do, how it affects the environment, There's unequal distribution in resources and services around the world. Certain actions we have adverse effects to society and our environment in general. We have a sustain the resource, we have to sustain the resources we have left in trying to improve the livelihood of people around the world. I think that's important. That's very good. Now on the Nearpod, I believe Joseph and Alejandra also had posted, so I can share with you their information. So Joseph had put that sustainability is just that, it's used to sustain for the future. And Alejandro put sustainability is important because it is selfish to not take sustainable into account. Future generation will live on the planet and suffer with the consequences of our decision for the revenue over the environment of the people in life, and we're unable to travel to stars and have situation like Wall-E, or we should care to leave the environment that can continue living past us. The world has been here since before the humans and been around, so it should likewise continue after us. So I think that we should care about it for the generation. I think that's what Alejandra is posting, and we wanted to make sure that we sustain it for the future. Very good. Okay. Then what, and Jason said that we have to be conscious about our next generation. So looking about 10, 50, 100 years from now, we should make sure that our world is going to be sustainable for the future generation and the generation after that, including having clean water, having resources to maintain the resources, natural resources mostly for our environment. Thank you so much. Then what we're going to do is we are going to also address the next question. And I'll just put it in the chat so you can answer the question. So that way, if you're using the Nearpod, you can post it there. And then I'll share out the board after it's collaborated. Okay.
Dr. Nguyen?
Yes, Cynthia.
Would it be okay for me to share my opinion on the question? Sorry,
yes.
I was gonna post it, but
yes, you can share.
So from what I've learned from sustainability, it provides a holistic solution and a way for us, for everybody around the world, to be interdependent and to really work collaboratively to create solutions that will only benefit us as a society. And I think one of the things I learned in one of my courses is just the concept of recycling, reusing your resources for other things, whether it's, combating fast fashion, whether it's replacing oil-based plastics with carbon. It's just creating solutions that will just benefit us. And I think it's great when I see, the youth and everybody, but I know that it's just, sorry, I'm just a little nervous.
Okay.
But thank you. From what I've seen, I know that there was this company, I think they're called New Light Tech. And right now, they're creating a way to use air carbon to replace oil-based plastics. So that way we don't have to really rely on this resource. It's about thinking about what else can we use that is beneficial for the environment, and that doesn't also exploit, workers as well and people. And yeah, I'm excited to.
Okay. So in this conversation, we'll talk about design and how we can implement solutions for various areas. And the focus for the proposal for this program, both Mr. Bashir and I had proposed for clean water because we think, you know, without water, we cannot survive. And one of the questions that we also need to address, I'm going to go ahead and put this into the chat for you here, is we're going to think about design thinking. And design thinking is a process that is human-centered, and it is a way to think and that ensures the new solutions for the current problems. And the solutions need to meet the needs of the people, and it should lead into products like what you mentioned, how we can recycle the products and make sure that we can build that into the solution of our life. Is it going to be desirable, feasible, or viable? And so when we think about the solutions, and especially if we're looking at how we're going to be able to have clean water for our community and our world, why do you think design thinking is an important skills to develop, and what would be consisted of those skills? And you can simply type that into the chat so everybody can see, and it doesn't have to flip back and forth. But if you like to add to the Neuropod, you can. So why do you think design thinking is an important skills, and how that can contribute to the overall project in general in building solutions for clean water? So I'll put the information here. You can answer the question verbally, or you can type it in the chat or in the Nearpod. That's up to you.
Casey, can I share something?
Sure.
So the reason why I think it's important to find like better solutions. So I've been to Germany, and one thing that I noticed in Germany, everything's clean. Their recycling system is on point. They have everywhere you go, every household, if you go to the mall, like anywhere, there's 4 trash cans, not just one. Like in America, yes, I know in California we have our trash cans like outside, the big ones, but inside the home we just have like one big trash can. And I noticed that their solution for recycling is like better than any other country, especially for America. We're the worst. We throw away plastic like this. And I saw that their solution was that they have 4 trash cans. One is for plastic, one is for anything biodegradable like food scraps, paper, and then the other one's like metal, glass. And everybody does this, like every teenager, every little kid, they know where to throw away each little thing. They don't just throw it away in one big trash can, and they reuse that. And I think that's so like their system is so efficient. And they also have machines, like you go to a grocery store and there's a big machine that you can put in your water bottle, and they give you money. I know we do this in America, like you go to a recycling place, but there like more people are encouraged because you just put the bottle in the machine, it sucks it in and it gives you your money like that, this quick. And I think it's very important that we should try to implement like strategies and systems from other countries, because every country has their thing where they're best good in. And I believe Germany has their recycling system, and we should take some tips from them. And I just wanted to share that because I thought it's amazing how like some countries are doing their effort, but not all of them are. And we should all try to come together and see the solutions that different countries have to better.
Right. And it's good that you bring that up, because there are already existing solutions that we need to be aware of, and we can take that solution and we can improve that solution. So in my years of education, I've been trained to think about implementing the existing solution, especially with technology. and not starting from scratch, right? Starting from scratch is like reinventing the wheel, and it's going to take you a long time. So we need to think about how other countries and companies have been working on these solutions and be able to build the solutions and redesign that and improve that for our use. And you're right, there are a lot of countries that are very clean. So same thing with China and Japan. And there are parts of the world that people don't throw away trash in the street, right? I drive around California and sometimes I'm embarrassed because people just throw trash all over on the street and on the freeway, and it's it's sad because it's impacting the environment and it's impacting the people that live around that area, right? So, and that going to impact the waterway and everything else that's going to be in that community. So NK posted something in the chat if you wanted to take a look at that. And it's important to make everyone conscious of the resources. So I think education is also a ground for, you know, building solutions, understanding the issues. And we saw in the video from the UN that the issues exist and this is happening everywhere in the world. And so what we need to do is we need to think about ways, and Cynthia mentioned earlier how we should recycle materials. Well, we could be recycling water, right? We could be recycling some of the things. And yes, we do throw away a lot of plastics. Plastics is in the use of every household. I know that when I purchase products, 80% of the products are contained in plastics. And plastics definitely impact the how clean water would be as well. So Daniel also put down the answer for design thinking and how to solve the problem. Anything else anybody wanted to add?
Can I say something?
Yes, Anna.
So just to like follow up from Melissa R's saying, because I've been to Singapore too, and Singapore is like one of the cleanest countries in the world, and because they have laws that prevent the situation of like littering. But in the United States we do have laws too, but nobody does follow them. They say, okay, if you litter, then you'll get fined how many like, but people don't care. So like what you said, Professor Win, like I think we have to implement it in education, but we've been saying don't litter, recycle, throw your trash in the right trash cans. But I think it's more of we have to teach the adults and try to implement it so that it will get passed down from like generations to generations, and it'll be implemented like at home too, so that when the kids or when people go into the streets, they're like, oh, okay, I learned this and it's part of how I am, how my well-being is, and I want my country, my world to be a better place one day, so I will do this certain stuff. So I think it's much more of like, if you implement it like manners to the household, then it will be taken out into the real world the same way.
So we have to change the way we practice things, definitely, right? And I think corporations had a lot to do with that too, because the consumer will utilize the product that's going to be available. So I think, you know, internally we can change what's in the household, but then we have to think about how the businesses can change how they would produce these products and be able to implement a better approach in sustainable living, right? A sustainable world. So I agree, Anna. I think that's really good to point out because a lot of it has to do with how we behave as a human being, and that can impact our environment as well. And we have some, Hemaf had actually put in some additional comment there if you wanted to check that out. So that brings up the next question, which is about culture, right? And I know that in the activity, you also have some now, if you wanted to watch the video for the design thinking, I will give you the YouTube link. If you wish for me to play it, I can also play it. but if you like to watch the video about design thinking, actually, I can play that for you. Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, that'd be great, Casey. Thank you.
Okay, so let me share, and then you can get a better understanding of the design thinking if you wish. If you're using the Nearpod, it actually shows that. Share screen, optimize. All right, let me know if you don't hear any sound.
Design thinking is an approach to creative problem solving. It's a human-centered path to innovation.
Hello, I'm David Kelly. I'm happy you're here to explore design thinking with IDEO. You know, so many people don't think of themselves as creative, but I think that's wrong. Everybody's creative. And that's one of the reasons we teach design thinking, because we think that knowing this kind of approach can unlock your creativity and make you feel capable of coming up with routinely wonderful ideas.
Design thinking starts with people. It's about putting human needs at the center of all we do. It's about simple mindset shifts and new ways of looking at problems through empathy and collaboration. For an idea to be both successful and meaningful, we use 3 lenses to bring it into focus: desirability, feasibility, and viability. This ensures we're creating something that makes people's lives better, but that's also feasible to produce and makes good business sense. There are many different phases of design thinking. We find it helpful to teach it in a linear way, but in practice, it's more like this. Design thinking unfolds in iterative loops, moving back and forth across phases, some taking much longer than others. To learn it, you need to try it out for yourself. The skills and mindsets of design thinking can help you tackle your biggest challenges and build your creative confidence. Once you put it into practice and make it your own, who knows what important problems you might solve.
Okay, so what do you think about that? Does that give you a clearer picture? Did Anna want to say, Joseph, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I just think like there was a time where it was design thinking. I was just listening to the comments earlier. So when I was at elementary, we had like those initiatives, like you probably remember Dr. Nguyen and Jason, like commercials like The More You Know, or like Captain America, or the Recycle, Reduce, Reuse song, and all that other stuff. And so there was a big promotion, or promoting all that stuff. And then somewhere along the lines where it, like all that was just lost. And it may be from, I'm thinking it from like the older heads, or like, not older heads, but like the older generation or certain generations that just don't want to move on to newer things. I remember when I started going to architecture school, there was a real heavy talk about sustainability, and going and being carbon zero by 2030. And it seems to be like a big fight to stop that from, like, for example, like the gasoline guys. You know, it's a lot of money in gasoline. And so there's a big push to really talk about things such as like the Tesla. And, you know, I don't want to get into like all the political parts of a Tesla, but electric vehicles, once an electric vehicle have a fire or accident, there's a big story on electric vehicles failing, and trying to pretty much say like, let's keep pretty much polluting the earth with gasoline because, you know, we want to make money. But I think there's been a big push, and encouragement to start the design thinking process all over again, with people having living in smaller homes, people living off the grid, people, let's say, like going vegan and not killing cows, because, you know, killing cows, I'm not going to get into that, but that's a lot of pollution in itself, from the burden and the money that it takes to do that. And so I think there's a shift that's going on, but with that shift, there's still a pushback from completely going carbon zero by the year that we had. And we're 9 years away from that 2030. And I don't think a lot of people want to relinquish that right of the old ways of doing things, just like say the gasoline or building large houses and stuff like that. Like there's a tiny house movement that's going on, but people still want to live in big homes. So, you know, you have that give and take on both sides. And I think that's where, and it may be above us, above our head or above our pay grade, I like to say, but that's where I think like it needs to be addressed on that level before it reach our level, because we could do as much as we possibly can. But if the people with the money saying, I don't want that, then we have a large uphill battle that we have to face.
So in America, the big corporations have a lot to say with what you use and how you use things, right? And that plays in the how there's political impact and all of these other areas. So I think that there had been some push in United States with, you know, cleaner vehicle, especially for California. There's a lot of push for that. People cannot, there's a smog qualification with the vehicle, since you mentioned about electrical vehicle. There's incentive in tax reduction when you purchase a hybrid but I think that there's also need to be an additional incentive for the people and the corporation to really produce and support these type of solutions. So, and coming back to what we're going to be doing toward the last part of this is almost 9 o'clock. So I'm going to be mindful of your time and everybody's time. So we're going to start the process with the design thinking, but I wanted to drop a question in the chat and wanted to go over, in your opinion, why do you think cross-cultural collaboration is important, right? Outside of our country and our community, should we communicate like what we're doing now with people across the world? Okay. So, and while we think about that, let me see. I will share with you a video on cultural iceberg if you haven't seen that. One second. Okay, so think about that questions and you can add it into the chat if you wish. And I'm going to play the video.
In his book, Beyond Culture,
about 2 minutes.
Edward T. Hall developed the iceberg analogy of culture. The cultural iceberg theory suggests that, like an iceberg, there are only some aspects of culture which are visible or which, in other words, lie above the surface of the water. These can include language, food, greetings, art, music, and many others. These are the explicit manifestations of culture. They are easy to see, taste, or hear. But according to Hall's theory, these are only the tip of the iceberg. The majority of culture, like an iceberg, lies beneath the surface. These aspects are not immediately visible. They can include worldview, religion, spiritual beliefs, decision-making models, power relationships, respect for authority, concepts of time, and many others. These are the implicit manifestations of culture. They can exert an important influence over behaviour, values, feelings, and thoughts. The more immersed we become in a cultural environment, the more these hidden aspects are revealed to us.
Okay. So please add your response in the chat to be able to answer that question. So in your opinion, why do you think cross-cultural collaboration is important? And how can we work together to really design the solutions for clean water? Okay. So I saw a comment here. The culture is important because it is a definition for our nationality and our history. And Alejandro put, the government should allow the greater pool for the ideas of the people who struggle to maintain sustainability, but also the people who are doing great things, coming up with solid solutions and practices and actually help the sustainability, similar to what Melissa said earlier about Germany and their recycling system, knowing many parts of China, their cultural practices in place socially discouraging things like littering, intentional pollution, and encouraging recycling, composting as well. I agree. I think that understanding how different culture is dealing with the same problem, right? Different part of the world, it's going to help. And Daniel mentioned that yes, government should contribute to design thinking incentives. They should do more to push sustainable goals. Anything else anybody wanted to add? Okay. Cynthia, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, sure. I really liked, I agree with, NK. I make NK. Just because, just going based off what everybody was saying, it is true that, when sometimes when you're in your own, you know, little world, you only know what you know. But if you expand, you start to learn what everybody else is doing, and you see, oh, well, maybe that works for us in our country. And one thing that I was thinking about when we were talking about corporations um, and the push for becoming more environmentally friendly and sustainable is there's this activist. Her name is Jane Goodall, and she was saying that they were saying that she was going to get, her publicist was saying she was going to get a lot of controversy for working with an oil company. But she said that, in order to really enact change, it's important to work with private corporations because, they tend to have a lot of power. And so she ended up doing that in order to help save the chimpanzees' habitat, but also local communities' habitat as well. So it's interesting that, well, actually, I didn't know what else to say from that, but that's all I can add. Sorry.
Oh, thank you for adding your comment. I appreciate, that's okay. That's okay. And I think it's good to hear everybody's voice. And that's what this, cross-cultural sharing ideas is about, right? We're here today to really listen to everybody's voice and what we have to say about the process in helping building the solutions. Okay. Does anybody else wanted to add any feedback or anything else? Okay. With that said, I wanted to introduce you to a tool. I know some of you are here to also learn the technology. And, in my world, I usually look into technology on how we can streamline. And I talk to my coworker about processes all the time because I feel like sometimes we don't use technology as effectively as we can, right? You saw earlier, I'm trying to figure out how to implement some of these things. And then the second time I use it, I would do better. But there's also a comment in the chat box if you wanted to read about cross-cultural collaboration. So with that, I Make Innovation Center team can share with you on how to use Tinkercad. And when you use Tinkercad, you can start thinking about ideas on what you can design, and it can start very small and it can be very big. And that's the whole point in this, is to implement some of the tool that we have and be able to have design thinking, and together we are going to be able to collaborate and think about what we wanted to make out of the 5 weeks that we are together. So we will share with you some of the resources in the tool. And even across the world, when you design, you can 3D print the product that you wanted to build. And what we can do is we have camera, we can show you what you do 3D print. And if you wish to have it,
Did we lose Casey?
I think we did.
Okay, it froze. I don't hear her. All right, yeah, she left. She'll probably reconnect in a second. Joe or Abraham, do you want to talk a little bit about Tinkercad while we wait for Casey to reconnect? Because everyone's not familiar with it. And I can share the link.
So I'll talk. So Tinkercad is a free program with the Autodesk family. Autodesk is actually free to students if you log on as a student or sign up as a student or instructor. It's free to use any Autodesk product. That includes stuff like 3ds Max, AutoCAD, Revit, Maya, a whole bunch of different online like 3D modeling or 3D editing software. So Tinkercad is a web-based program, so you don't need to have the most powerful computer in order to run it, but you do need to have internet connection. You don't have to have the greatest, but you do have to have at least some type of decent internet connection. Another beautiful thing about Tinkercad is that it saves everything to the cloud, and it saves automatically. So whatever change you make, whether you resize it, make it smaller, or add something to it, is going to automatically save for you. And then you can just download it as, you know, the required file, and then just print it on any platform that you have. They also offer a service to where you can send them a file. I don't know how much it costs because we've been blessed with 3D printers at the Makerspace, a whole bunch of them. So I can't tell you that, oh, it costs this much or it costs that much, but they do have a program to where you can send them your file that you create on that web-based program, and they will print it and send it back to you. It's real easy to use. They do have a whole bunch of lessons on there, or tutorials that can help you like model. It's not the most robust in my opinion. There's other 3D modeling programs out there, such as Rhino, which is a good one. SolidWorks is another good one. And they even themselves, Autodesk, have another program called Fusion 360 that allows you to 3D model and test. The beautiful thing about Fusion 360, you can do stress tests, whether it's a heat test or how strong a piece is, depending on what type of material that you have. You could do that in Fusion 360. The Tinkercad is more like, let's just say like Play-Doh in a sense. It's not gonna allow you to change or add material. It's just, here is a 3D model and edit from here. But it is a good entry-level 3D modeling program. If you want, we do have workshops every Wednesday at 3 o'clock that you could join. I'll put that down in the chat later on of that Eventbrite. We have also 2 of our teachers or our presenters are on the call, NK and Anna. They've been doing a wonderful job. And if you need help with Tinkercad, they're more than welcome to aid and help you. Just know we do have little kids on there, but these little kids, you would think that they've been doing this for 10 plus years, how they talk and how they operate the program. And just like I said, I'll add that to the chat if you're interested. For the people that are overseas, it is 3 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know, that may be early morning for you guys, but if you are a night owl, like some of us are here, you're more than welcome to come and join that 3 p.m. Workshop. And it's only for an hour. It's not too long. But that hour, it goes quick. You'll be surprised how fast it goes, especially with the participation that we have from the little ones.
Thank you, Joseph. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of internet trouble. So with that, do you wanted to lead into Tinkercad? Abraham, are you still here?
Yeah, I can go ahead and give a little demo if you want.
Yeah, I think Joseph dropped off for a little bit. So yes, so Abraham's gonna
okay.
show you a little bit of demo on Tinkercad and at least how to get started with using it.
Let me switch over to a desktop and then I'll.
No, Abe, I can take care of it. I know what you're doing
got it?
now, sir.
Okay. Well, you were supposed to do it originally, but then you dropped. That's why.
No, I'm still here. I just sometimes I just mute the camera if my kids walk in the room. But I'm still here.
Okay.
Let me get a page. So my page may look different from you guys just because I already have an account with Tinkercad. But here we go. So real simple is tinkercad.com. And so I'm going to log out just so you can see how that entry screen will look. So this is what you'll be met with Tinkercad. You can see, just like I was saying earlier, it's more like clay models more than anything. But it's real simple. And so it allows you to quickly get your ideas on paper, in a sense, without like navigating through like how the actual size or any detailed parameters. If you don't have an account, click join now. And then this is where I want everyone to click on. If you don't have an account, just go students or educators here, or you could create your personal account. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is that when you do sign up for an account, it's gonna ask you, of course, your country, region. So they cater to all. Of course, your birthday. And then I'm not gonna go and create an account because I don't have any other emails that I could think of. But you just go through the whole like steps of how you want to create an account. And so I'm just gonna quickly hop on to how it will look. So when I say it's in the cloud, this is everything that I ever tinkered with, created, downloaded. This is all in my quote unquote folder. This is one of the things that the ladies did, or they had like a workshop on creating Pokemon characters. We also did chess pawns. So these are some things that you can make in Tinkercad. It's gonna save it as a weird name. So don't mind the names unless you change it yourself. So this Funky Sango, they just automatically gave it that name just because I didn't give it an actual name. But in our makerspace, we have vacuums, but we don't have like the correct attachments. I didn't feel like going to the store and go buy it. So I created this attachment that you can hook up to the vacuum, or you plug the vacuum into it, the hose into it, and then you will connect that to one of our chop saws in the workspace, so we can keep it clean in there. But again, I didn't want to go and buy one, so I just did some measurements and created it myself. So from here, you go create a new design. And this is your work plane. This is all that you need to create anything. You have your shapes. And so just like what I said earlier, I'm going to continue to mention that it's Play-Doh, and you're simply just molding to whatever shape that you want. They have these generic shapes right here to get you started. But from here, whether you add or subtract, you could create some elaborate pieces. They also, if you click out of basic shapes, they have other things such as characters, connectors, numbers, assemblies. They just recently hooked up with the Smithsonian Museum. And so they have some of their models in here already created for you if you wanted that. So if I want to bring in this bust, come on. You can see that that's already created. And so these are some of the things that you can do in Tinkercad. And this was made primarily on Tinkercad. Again, what they just did was probably took a box and just start carving away at this. Another nice thing that you can do with Tinkercad, what I like to say is sketch first. That's how I've been taught, to always sketch your ideas on paper before bringing it to the computer. I did have a problem with that when I first started school, to just automatically go to the computer. But you will see, although it takes a little bit more steps to design on paper, it will be a lot easier in the long run and save you a lot of time if you design on paper first. So with that being said, if you do have a piece, if you design on paper, and let's say you take it into, you scan that paper, or you take it into Illustrator and bringing it in as an SVG. You could take that SVG, that drawing that you created, and make a 3D model for that drawing. There's a lot more steps, and I don't want to get into a whole tutorial of Tinkercad. I just want to give you guys a gist of how Tinkercad looks and what you can do inside of it. Again, this is me modeling in a 3D environment. I can make as much changes as I possibly want or need. And that's that. We have any questions on Tinkercad thus far?
So I want to get everybody feedback. The original proposal is to present some solution for clean water, and we did have like an open source lesson that we wanted to introduce. But I wanted you to think about what you wanted to design together in groups for water filter, and what we can do to help you get there, and how we would be able to, use technology effectively and be able to do that. Okay. So there's feedback that it is best for the individual solution. Sure, if you like to present individual solution, that will be fine. And then we can take a look at the individual solution, and we can come up together as which solution would be best fitting for this group in the conversation. Would that be okay? What do you think? Yes, that will be fine. Okay. And is there anything else that you would like to obtain as far as Tinkercad, how you would create the account? Okay. Joe, do you have any kind of tutorial and resources that you can point them to and be able to do that, or share with them?
Yeah, let me just look for that. I just got to find that PDF.
Okay. So while Joe's doing that, let's think about what you want to do. Now, when we say water filter, that might be a very large, range, right? Let's think about, what kind of container or things that you want to implement in the water filter individually. Like, what would you use a water filter for? Would it be for, you know, using it with your bottle that you drink every day, or doing it for a reservoir, like a larger scale for the community. The one that we looked at was basically for the water bottle, that a container, like let's say that I wanted to fill it up in a 5 gallon or a 2 gallon, and in some part of the world that might be 1 liter or 2 liter of water container that you would use for home or for personal. And so you have to think about your objective in that, how you would design these products and what is it for. So we have to think about what type of product you do you want to design for, okay? And how will it be used, okay? Because that really is, you can narrow down your approach and your design thinking, okay? So to coming back, we have to think about the problem in the current product, right? We should build a water filter, home tap pipes, so people will be able to move away from plastic bottle. I think so too. I think that that would be a good idea, okay? And that kind of stem into what I was saying is we have to think about the problem. Okay. What is the problem for today? As Anna mentioned, there's a lot of plastic being wasted. We should start thinking about the filter that can maybe possibly go into a faucet, right? Or under the sink, or where water is distributed, because some part of the world, the community has to go and obtain water at a location where they would be able to bring that to their home. So what I like for you to do is the takeaway from today, you need to think about what you wanted to design, right? And then maybe we can give you the tools to be able to design it. Okay. Okay. So there's a comment about how the water problem is not very clean. We should decrease the cast of the filter. Okay, so what we should also think about is we should think about what is filter made of, right? Outside of the design, we wanted to make sure that it's going to house the materials that we want. Maybe think about carbon based filter. Now, let's think about the waste behind that as well, okay? A lot of the filter that's are being sold in the United States is made of charcoal based or plant based filter, meaning that they would use carbon based and fill the actual filter, and then they would sell that, and that goes into the refrigerator, the faucet, etc. And there are other materials that would go into that too. So there are some sand-based filter, etc. So what I like for you to do is when we come back together next week, we can share our ideas, and then maybe Anna, NK, and the team can give you some resources, and then we, you know, Abraham or Joe can show you how you can 3D print these things. A good area that you can look at for 3D print model. Let me find the website for you. If you wanted to look at some open source environment here. Thingiverse has some pretty good stuff on there if you wanted to look at some of the things that are already made. Like what we talked about was design that's already existed, right? You can create your own design from scratch, but maybe you can have a better idea on how to approach a solution when you're looking at the available solutions, okay? And then I think, I know that some of you already know some of these websites. Let me see if
Casey, do you
there's.
want me to share the one from Instructables, the open water source?
Yes, please.
Okay, I have that link open. I'll share it.
And the one that we proposed was to go on the bottle, but keep in mind that it doesn't have to be a plastic bottle, right? We wanted to move away from plastic, so we should start thinking about how we can build this into a metal container, like a porcelain cup, things like that. So you have to start thinking about the functionality and the use of it, and looking at the ideas that already exist. So Jason had dropped in the link for you. So the homework for this week is to think about what you wanted to achieve out of the 5 session as far as the design, and then we can provide you with some resources on how to go about getting started with Tinkercad. And I can give you, my part is more on the coding and the programming side. So the last 2 sessions will be about sensors and Arduino. And if you live locally, if you like to obtain an Arduino, please contact us, and then I will set you up with, iMake Innovation Center where you can pick up your Arduino. Okay. Is there any feedback or anything else that you would like? Okay. So Instructables is also a good resource for you to look at. And when you start thinking about 3D print, now there are online websites that sells model, and we don't want that. We want it for us to be able to come up with an idea. And even if you're not very versed with Tinkercad, maybe you can present your idea, and then we can help you at least begin that process in designing your idea. Okay, and that's the whole point. Okay, well, any feedback, anything that you like to add? And Joe added the Eventbrite, so if you like to attend their session where they can go in detail about how to work with the Tinkercad and the technology, that will be also useful for you. Okay, very good. All right, I have a few minutes left. So for next week, let's talk about that before we sign off on the session. For next week, we are going to touch on a few things that would be required from IREX. We're going to talk about empathy and how we would use empathy in design thinking. And then I want you to bring back your idea, and I want you to share your ideas and apply empathy in the process. And we are going to talk about sustainable development, and whether water is your area. If there's additional goal that you wanted to pursue, we will share that out. Okay. And so for our session 2, those are the 2 areas that we need to address and so forth. So any questions? Okay. So I think this is it for me. Yes, NK.
So I'm wondering about materials that these 3D printers will be using. Are they also eco-friendly or sustainable for the designs?
Do you guys wanted to answer that?
I would chime in on that. Even with any type of prototyping, you always have to, there's going to be some type of waste. And that's a good question, NK. Thank you for asking that. When you're thinking about your model, you want to think about how is your model going to be sustainable also. Because unless you have the money, it's hard to get 100% no waste. There are some factories that do that well, but it could be difficult to do that if you don't have the resources and the money. So when you are designing, think about how you can eliminate waste or use less material. I love minimalism and how people use it and how it's designed. And so you can start research that. minimalist and how they operate and how those designs are, and then see, and maybe that can drive your design or drive your product.
And the PLA, the polylactic acid, is environmentally friendly, which we use with the smaller Invent 3D printers. And I think, Joe, you just switched over the Stratasys head, right? One
Yeah, I
cheaper.
have to do more tests on that, and then we'll be good to go.
Okay. So there's some material that's used for the 3D printer that's not, and then there's some that would be environmentally friendly. So Anna asks, what about using biodegradable plastic? How can they be used for 3D printer?
Yeah, the PLA is environmentally friendly, Anna. Good question.
Okay.
When I say it's like corn based, maybe Abraham or Joe could elaborate more on the details of the chemical structure of it. Abraham, this is probably more up your alley. Do you have any feedback for that, for the PLA?
Yeah, the PLA, unlike the ABS that we are using, it's not toxic to the environment. It's biodegradable. So it's, even if we do have an excess of discarded waste, it can be recycled, unlike other plastics. And so other than the plastic itself, there's no additional waste. But like I said, the plastic can be melted down and repurposed and donated to like a recycling facility.
Okay. And we should also think about using the other machines or technology that's available in the iMake Innovation Center. They do have laser cutter, and so if you think about using metal or other form of material, laser cutter can be used to cut. And you also need to start with Tinkercad and design and all of that.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about a larger result, yes, go ahead, Abraham.
So if anyone is thinking of using our laser cutters, I'll give you like the specs so you, in your design, you can keep this in mind. The bed itself is 24 by 18 inches. The materials we have available is 3mm acrylic that's 12 by 18. And we have wood that's 24 by 18 in 3mm, 6mm, and 9mm thicknesses. And I can send, actually, I can also send an email to our thread with all the machines and materials that we have to go along with them that are available. That way, while everyone is brainstorming, you can see all the machines and material we have available to ourselves. And hopefully we're going to get the live stream up and running so that while these things are being created by the machines, you'll be able to monitor and actually see your project in process.
So, and on the CTE iMake website, it lists our flyer and it lists the types of equipment we have too that I shared.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that information. Go ahead.
One last thing, if you really want to be biodegradable, Anna, think about using bamboo, because our wood is not like the best wood as far as what we have in our makerspace. One of the best woods to use is bamboo. It grows fast. We probably can use a coconut shell. Our laser cutter could cut more than just wood. That's just the easiest material that we can cut on there. But we have done a whole bunch of stuff on that laser printer and cut a whole bunch of different things. And so just like what I said, bamboo, if you want to use that, and that's just me studying sustainability, it takes 5 to 7 years to reach maturity, unlike other trees that take 30 plus years to reach maturity. And it's very strong. It's one of the strongest woods out there, bamboo. And I believe that it could hold up to the water if we wanted to. So think about that also if you want to go that route with wood and you really want to be sustainable.
I think that's a really good idea because bamboo also helps. I read this article saying that bamboo helps like clean the air, and having a lot of bamboos, and we can use that bamboo to make water filters. That's like a really good idea.
So let's think about the materials we want to use, right? The design that we wanted to pursue for our next session. And then I'm going to give you breakout room in the next session after we discuss, the UN approach and our goals. And then after that, we're going to start building our ideas. Now, after the 5 weeks is over, I want to continue the conversation and possibly put together a thread for everybody to just to keep on going. And because, you know, 5 weeks is a fairly short amount of time with an hour and a half each week. But so the homework for this week is think about your design, your product, what you want to use it for, and how you can implement technology to help you streamline that process and make it environmentally friendly. Okay. And with that, does anyone else wanted to say anything before we sign off? It is now 9:30 time check or 9:31 in California, which is a little late. Yes, Cynthia.
Sorry. Dr. Nguyen, I was wondering, how can we access the recordings for any of the students?
What I will do is I will actually I don't have the roster information for that, but I will share out my YouTube on actually if I will give you the channel right now. So unless I Make Innovation Center wanted to stream it or put it on their thing, but I do have a channel. And if you search YouTube, you can simply search for my channel. Okay, here I'll share screen so you can see real quick. And it will have its own playlist. Okay, I put a lot of like lessons and things like that on there. I don't have that many subscribers because most of the students are even the people who watch it. I know that Cynthia, you know of my channel. So it will have its own playlist and I will call it Global Solutions and the recording will go on there. Thank you so much for asking a great question. Okay, so if you search for me online, you will be able to find me in YouTube and then you can, you know, add the channel and then you will find the playlist. So after, you know, the next hour, it will be uploaded. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
PC, can you share the link in the chat too for everyone?
Let me see if I can get my channel link real quick. 1 second. Are there any comments, anything like that? Okay.
Nope.
No.
And then
Let
we'll
me
have
see.
everyone look at the week 2 information that's in the curriculum on the Slack channel. And take a look at the videos ahead of time for next Thursday.
Okay. Does that work for you if you see the channel?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank
And
you.
it's going to have its own playlist. So you can find the playlist by clicking, you know, but the home, it has each of my courses that I have added the videos for. There are different classes on there, but for us, it will have its own playlist. So that way you don't have to go looking around, but I do have other videos that are not in the playlist that I pre-recorded before for my other classes. Okay, any question? And I'll try to stream live and link it back to YouTube next time. But I wasn't sure if I should do that in this session, but anyway, thank you so much for joining today. If you don't have any feedback or anything else, then I'll see you next week, same time, same place. So you can use the same link to join next week on Thursday. Okay. Okay. That will be fine. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Wait, Jason and Joseph. Oh, Joseph signed off already. Bye, everyone. I'll just touch base with you via email, Jason, and then if we need anything, we'll talk.
Okay, you can just send it to all of us on the iTeam.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.